Well, got a little problem with the old 97 Ford. You can see she just turned 280. But last month or so I've been getting check engine lights occasionally. And it is a code. Let's pull it. P0455. And so we'll get rid of that. And now she's gone. But what that is, from what I can tell, is the truck thinks it's got some sort of evaporative emissions leak of a greater proportion that it likes. And that's it hasn't affected the runnability of the unit, so I just delete it normally immediately as soon as it comes on, and then a week or so later it comes back. But that is something in the circuit that deals with the fuel tank vent. In other words, to keep you from putting gasoline fumes into the atmosphere. It's not really related to the exhaust or anything like that, so it doesn't affect the runnability of the truck. But I've checked the fuel cap, it's fine. This has only a quarter turn fuel cap on it. It's kind of, I think, unique. It doesn't actually thread in, it just quarter turn and click, so it's either going to fall out or it's on. So that, I don't believe, is my problem, although I think that can throw this code. More likely there's some sort of a solenoid or something like that on the charcoal canister itself that after 22 years has finally crapped out. So when I get home tonight, we're going to dig into that and see what we find. Alright, so to start my investigation into my P0455 massive evaporative emissions silliness vacuum leak, we'll start at here. First thing you gotta do is make sure your gas cap is good, and mine is. It seals properly. The next thing you want to come in here is look at your filler neck underneath the fender. This is fender. That's filler neck. That's not going to be your issue. This is a vent hose. However, that can be an issue here, because if that system doesn't stay sealed, if you got some rust in here or whatever, like I don't, but if this is all rusty and holes and stuff, that can totally screw up this system. So then we're going to move underneath the car a little bit further. Underneath here. And back here above the spare tire. Let's see if we can get to it. You see this solenoid right here? That is one of the purge solenoids or vent solenoids or something, because these are the charcoal canisters in here above the spare tire on my 97. All of these wacky vacuum hoses need to be good, and they go along the frame, up on top of the fuel tank, they go everywhere. I unplugged this just to check the connection. It's just a single stage connection. Squeeze it, pull it apart, everything looks clean. No real issues physically that I can see back here right now, so I didn't feel like doing much to it, and I don't feel like dropping the spare tire to pull this out. It's only a few bolts, but I just don't feel like it. So let's carry on a little further up front. Now, as I said, some of these lines here that go past the fuel filter up there, those are some of the other vent lines, and they go to a solenoid or something that is up under the hood. So let's go take a look at that. Now my 97, you can see, I believe, see this evap service port? This is the other solenoid. You got some lines. These are the lines that go down under there, sneak down the firewall, and get lost under all of that stuff. This is the other piece of that system. You got a little vacuum line here, you got a vacuum line here, and again, all of these lines need to be good. Now here's something I noticed. Let's see if we can show it. Look at how the top is connected on this thing. See how that's kind of in that clip? Look at the bottom. I can show it. That thing somehow has become dislodged. And from what I can tell, looking at where these vacuum ports are in the back, that's the seal. I have no idea how that happened. But looking at it, I have exactly an idea how that happened. I will bet that I bumped it when I redid the brake booster a couple of months back. And it has finally popped open. So my guess is if I just pop that back in, it's going to work. But the first thing I'm going to do, since it's been open for a while and could have sucked some dust in and whatnot, I'm going to disconnect it, which is just another boop, single point plug. Get what looks to be like maybe a 9mm, maybe an 8mm bolt. I'm going to pop that off, see if I can take it apart the rest of the way, see if there's anything interesting to look at, and then clean it, grease it, put it back together. So they are 8mm, and having been on here for 22 years, they're a little stiff. So if you've got an older version of this or a rusty version of this, you wouldn't have an older one since this is the first year, but if you've got a rusty version of this, good luck. You have my condolences. Typical Ford, excessively long screw. Pull the vacuum port off. Yeah, I'm betting that this is my problem. The diaphragm looks excellent, if a little cruddy. So all the clips look good around the edge. I must have bumped that when I did the brake booster. So I am just going to clean this up, grease it with a little super secret O-ring grease, clip it back together, remembering to put my spring back in it. And I will bet that this solves my vacuum leak. Okay, I mounted it back on the firewall. I'm not sure if the background noise here gets onto the video, but we're having apparently the Slaughter, Louisiana running of the bulls in my back field. There we go. That appears to go just like that. And the spring seats in here, and then seats on that, and then this, if I turn it the right way, it's got a couple of what appear to be alignment slots at the top, and if I push it like that, it clips back in. And that's it. That's a fair bit sturdier than it was. Put that back on. Plug that back in. Hoses are still good. I bet that is what has been throwing my code. So, if you've recently had some brake work done and are throwing a P0455 code, give this thing a look, because it pops apart just with some plastic clips, and if that got bumped and it took 6 weeks for that to dislocate enough to where it caused my problem, but I will update you if that doesn't fix it, if the code comes back, but I will bet dollars to donuts that that was my problem. So There it is, P0455, quick fix, quicker than probably average because it was fairly obvious once I looked at it, but solenoid up here had broken away from its mount and lost its seal, therefore couldn't draw a vacuum. So my guess is that's fixed. Y'all have a good one.